Hello and welcome to Two Trees Gaming. We're continuing our look through the Armies of Middle-earth book, and we've made it to the Forces of Evil. We're going to start with the evil profiles, where we'll talk through the models and how they compare rules-wise to what they were like in the previous edition, and just some initial thoughts on them. It's generally going to be good stuff. I'm very excited to get this book. If you're after a full review, this isn't that. And then we're going to move on to the Armies of Middle-earth, to the evil armies, sorry, where we'll be looking through the army lists, and that's really where you get into the meat of it, so you can kind of look at how they're going to play in the game. But let's see what's first. It's Mordor, and weirdly, we're starting with a Mordor siege bow. I guess most of the Mordor stuff featured in the film, so there's not a whole lot to go at in just this book supplement. So it's a worse version of an Uruk-hai ballista. They actually hit on the same score. It's only 50 points, which is pretty good. Siege equipment seems very cheap in this edition. I actually took a pair of these to a Throne of Schools before they'd even had Legendary Legions. I took like a pseudo Blackgate where I had a chief, a couple of trolls, a couple of these, some Blackguard and some Mordor Orcs. Didn't work out very well. The next profile is a Mordor Orc Shaman. Fight value 3, strength 3, defense 5, 1 attack, 2 wounds, 7s for courage and intelligence, and 1/3/1 for might, will and fate. So exactly as you'd expect from a shaman. They can be upgraded to a wag because there is a model for that. And they've got Fury, Mordor Orc, Curse, and Transfix. I was kind of hoping they'd move away from Fury on all the shamans. Maybe they will. But the Mordor Orc shaman's got it. Curse is a nice little addition. And these next three, I'm very excited for. We've got the Black Númenórean Marshal, Black Númenórean Knight, or the old Morgul Knights, and then the Black Númenórean Warriors. I also don't know what army list they fit into at the moment. I'm assuming Army of the Great Eye and maybe Umbar, but we'll find that out later. Black Númenórean Marshals were fight value 5, strength 4, defense 7, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 5+, intelligence 6+, 2/1/1, and they come with heavy armor, shield, and a hand weapon, and you can upgrade them to have a lance and an armored horse. With all those options, they'd be 100 points exactly. We've got Terror special rule, and then we have Visage of Terror, a new special rule. So Visage of Terror, it seems like extreme terror. If an enemy attempts to charge this model and fails its courage test as a result of the Terror special rule, their activation will end immediately, rather than just not being able to move that turn. So I guess that means, well, it says they can't shoot in the shoot phase, they can't move in the fight phase as part of a heroic combat. I guess they wouldn't be able to cast a magical power if they hadn't done that yet. A little bit niche, but nice little added bonus. I would argue that's maybe what Terror should be for everybody anyway. It seems strange that you're brave enough to attempt to charge something, then coward enough to not charge it, and then you could still shoot just because you've not moved very far. There seems to be like a, what, have you loaded your bow? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, cool rule, happy with it. Black Númenórean Knights, fight value 4, strength 3, defense 6, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 6, intelligence 7. They come with a lance and a mounted on armoured horse, and they're 20 points, which is the same as a mounted Knight of Dol Amroth. These guys have also got the Terror and Visage of Terror special rule. I'm just going to flip back to the Knights of Dol Amroth and see how they compare. So we've got the exact same stat line, except Knight of Dol Amroth is 6+ intelligence instead of 7+. And then they, within 3 inches of Imrahil, they get +1 to their fight value. But the Black Númenóreans have got Terror and Visage of Terror. I'd definitely rather have the Terror than the potential to go to fight value 5, I think. But actually, maybe that is fairly costed, and maybe it's just the Knights of Minas Tirith are a little cheap. Black Númenórean Warriors have gone up a point. They're 10 points now, but otherwise have the same stat line. I'm actually in favour of that. I think they were a little cheap before, especially you saw them sprinkled in on front lines in these Witch King Suladan lists that no longer exist. I think that's for the better. Isengard next. Uruk-hai Shaman, 55 points. They can channel. They can be upgraded to have armour. That's because there's 2 models available. There's the Berserker one, and then there's this fella here. They've got Fury, Isengard, Uruk-hai, And then they've got Transfix, fine, and Blade Wrath. That's very, very cool. I could see that being used on a Berserker, and then the Berserker goes two-handed. That could be causing absolute carnage. Love that. Isengard trolls are back, and they look to be the same as Mordor trolls, but with defense 8. Obviously, defense 8 and 4 wounds in combination is crazy. They're going to be really hard to bring down. Looking forward to seeing what lists they appear in. I guess Muster of Isengard for definite. Isengard Orc Shaman. This is what I need for my Wolves of Isengard list. If you saw our GT video, you'll know I desperately needed something to just keep the wags sticking around at the end. This is going to help me with that. So same Shaman stat line. A 1/3/1 Might Will Fate. They've got Fury Isengard Orc, so it's going to get the Wag Riders. Transfix, and then their curveball spell is Enrage Beast. So I guess they're going to be using that on the Wags. And if I remember rightly, Enrage Beast, you automatically take a wound at the end now. So it boosts your attack, fight value, and I think strength. But then you automatically suffer a wound at the end. So you could charge in with a Wag, really beef them up, get some kills, and then you've still got an Orc standing there at the end of it. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool because you take the highest stat available. If you do that to one of your captains, for example, that's a killing machine. You could heroic combat with it, and then maybe the Wag dies. I mean, really though, you have only got one shot at that because you have to have a will remaining for Fury to happen. So, and you've got to keep the Fury. And the Shaman stands at the back of the board and chain reacts the Standfast to keep your whole army in place. So he's got one will to cast his Fury, one to do an Enraged Beast, and then one just to keep in store. Ruffians are coming up. Straight off the bat, Sharky and Worm together are both 60 points. I was hoping there'd be more like 100, just so we didn't have to have quite so many Ruffians. Let's see what they look like then. Sharky, who's obviously Saruman once he's fallen from grace, or fallen further from grace, is fight value 4, strength 4, defense 4, 1 attack, 2 wounds, courage 6+, intelligence 3+, 2, 4, 1 for Might, Will and Fate. He's got a hand weapon and a turned weapon, and he can heroic channel, and he's got hatred hobbit. So he's very much killable. He's got 2 wounds and 1 fate. That is not a lot of staying power with defense 4. After a model has resolved all of its strikes against Sharky during a combat, they must take a courage check. If the check's failed, the model immediately suffers a strength 4 hit. That's good, but Sharky has to have lost the combat for that to kick in. You don't want to be using it if you can help it. He's got Compel, Terrifying Aura, and Transfix. Worm is fight value 3, strength 3, defense 3, 1 attack, 1 wound, 8 on courage and intelligence, and he's got no might, will, and fate. He's got Stalk Unseen, which is useful, and because as opposed to the model, it's probably going to be quite hard to actually see. If Shark is reduced to 1 wound and has no fate remaining, Worm becomes an enemy model, and he'll try and charge Sharky and kill him. If he does kill him, he goes back to normal. And if he can only be seen by models he's in combat with, he increases his fight value to 4 and his attacks to 3 for the duration of the combat. Makes him sound like a sneaky assassin. You could send him off on his own against a hobbit. That could be quite useful. In truth, it's probably just going to be used against Sharky, isn't it? But he's cool. Thematically and for narrative play, I love them. I was hoping they would just be more points and maybe a little bit of extra pizzazz. But Ruffians are an army I have painted to a really good standard. A lot of them are unofficial, but we'll definitely get them on the channel, and they'll definitely be fighting some hobbits. Bill Fernie's next. He's fight value 3, strength 4, defense 4, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 7s on courage and intelligence, and 1/1/1 for Might Will Fate. So he's had a bit of a buff. He's got 2 attacks now. He's got hatred hobbit. He can put them in chains, which basically you compare your strength with the hobbit model that he's fighting and add a d6. If your roll is higher, they become paralyzed. He's got heroic challenge and a whip as well, which is cool. And then he's got a new rule, Sharky's Spy. At the beginning of the game, he picks a target hero. If that target hero is within 12 inches and line of sight of Bill Fernie, and they declare a heroic action, you roll the dice on a 1 or a 2. The might isn't spent, but the heroic action's cancelled. That's very cool. That could be very, very useful against certain heroes. I mean, It's one of those rules that, like, if you come up against Smaug, you're like, I pick Smaug, and then Bill Fernie, what's he doing? Talking him out of a heroic move. But very, very cool. It's one of those, like, thematic but silly rules. It's exactly what the game needs. Love it. And it's exactly what the Ruffians need. That is a little bit of a buff. I think before he changed where people came on for Maelstrom, which is good, but that's cooler. Sid Briarthorn, he was always the beefier, or the beefiest of the Ruffians. He's fight 4, strength 4, defense 4, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 2/1/1 might, will, fate. Fight 4 in a Ruffian army is pretty good. He's got a terror hobbit, so he causes terror in hobbits, and he's got heroic strength, and he also has a whip. If he's outnumbered in combat, he can re-roll natural ones for his dual roll, and he never counts as unarmed. Other friendly Ruffian models treat him as a banner, although he's not a banner for himself. It says other Ruffian models. And then he can also put them in chains by doing the rolling the strength to paralyze them. Cool little profile, again, really thematic. Really thematic, absolutely love it. Rowan Thistlewood is fight value 3, strength 4, defense 4, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 1 might, 1 will, 1 fate. He's got heroic march. He can also put them in chains. And if he's able to charge an enemy hobbit hero, should his heroic combat be successful, he can call a free heroic combat per turn, or at least that's how I'm interpreting that. Again, very much built to play against hobbits. This is not an army. This is what Aaron was saying. It's not an army that's made for match play. It is an army that's made to be really cool, really thematic, but narrative. This is for the people that want to play out the Battle of Bywater and the preceding battles. His last special rule is Burn It Down, and it's one of those rules that comes with a little designer's note that says, please use a degree of common sense. But basically, if he finishes within an inch of a building or a woodland, roll a dice on a 3+, the whole thing's set on fire, and anybody within it has to roll a dice on a 4+, they're set ablaze. Very cool, very thematic again. Ted Sandyman is one of the evil hobbits. So he's got the hobbit stat line, fight 2, strength 2, defense 3, move 4, 1 attack, 2 wounds, and then 1/1/1 might, will, and fate. He can only include hobbits in his warband, and hobbits within 3 inches of him gain a bonus of +1 to wound when making strikes. So whatever ruffian list you're having, you're probably going to be taking 12 hobbits with Ted Sandyman. Ruffians themselves, 5 points still. Fight value 2, strength 3, defense 3, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 8, intelligence 8. They can do the putting them in chains, paralyzing power. And when engaged with an enemy hobbit model, they gain a bonus of +1 to their fight value. So they're going to be fight 3, which means they're going to be out fighting most hobbits. Love the ruffians, love the models, love the heroes. Probably never going to take them to a tournament. It's the Misty Mountains next. And just a quick note, I am working on my lighting. This big glowing thing in the back here will be covered up at some point. There's a reflection of a lampshade in that there. I am very aware of all that. I'm halfway through redoing the hobby room, but anyway, just in case you're wondering. Back to the Misty Mountains then. We've got Durber's King of Moria. He's 75 points now. So what's happened to him? Fight 4, strength 4, defense 6, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage and intelligence 6s, 3/2/2 might, will, fate. I think that's the same or very similar to what he was before. He's got heroic defense, resolve, and strike. Standfast is 12 inches rather than 6. All of that is what he had before, and he's got this new rule which is called Callous Leadership. Once per game in the fight phase, before heroic actions, you can say all goblin models within 6 inches of Durber's get +1 to wound when making strikes. But if you lose the dual roll, you roll a dice, and on a 1, you take a wound yourself. That's really cool. I love rules like that. I love the risk-reward kind of rules that make you think and plan. That could be absolutely devastating if it comes off, but you've got to maneuver in a way to make it work and pick the right moment. Love it. And then get lucky, obviously. Druzag, this is one of Louis' models. Fight 3, strength 3, defense 4, 1 attack, 2 wounds, courage 6+, intelligence 6+, 2/5/2 for might, will, and fate. He's 80 points, which is 10 less than before. Heroic channeling and defense. Beast models within 12 inches of him can use his courage or intelligence. And if he suffers a wound before fate rolls are made, on a 2+, he can choose a beast within 2 inches of him to take the wound instead of him. He's got Enraged Beast, Fury Beast, and Writhing Vines, and he's 10 points less. He's had a massive improvement. Unless I'm missing something, he seems a lot better than before, or a bit better than before, and is 10 points less. Definitely between him and Derba's, there's a bit of a decision what kind of leader, what kind of army you want to build. Looking forward to seeing the army list is in. Hopefully, you don't have to take Derba's. The Bat Swarm then. So this is one that I felt needed changing. It could easily be abused before. Fight value 1, strength 3, defense 3, 2 attacks, 4 wounds, courage 8, intelligence 9. They can fly. Enemy models 35 points, the same as before. Enemy models in combat with a bat swarm halve their fight value. That surprises me. So they're the same as they used to be. I thought maybe they'd have the ring rule where it has to be a one-on-one. I guess the main problem was the Watcher. And in the Watcher's rules, they've made it so you separate out the combat, so you can't just have a bat swarm there. They're very good, though. I suppose they can't pick up objectives, but then they can't be trapped. Interesting. I guess what you're pairing them with as well. Now the Alliance Matrix is what it is. I guess it's going to be Cave Trolls. Spiders. I mean, they're still good, but then Spider, I think, is fight 3 now, isn't it? Just one more thing on the Bat Swarm as well. Are we rounding down for the fight value or not? Certainly in the old rules, it said you halve your fight value rounded down. It doesn't say that here, which actually makes a big difference. The Moria Goblin Shaman has got the standard Shaman profile. 45 points, Fury and Transfix, and their extra little one is Instill Fear. That's not the rule it used to be. It's quite good, maybe, but not as good as it used to be, where you could scatter the opponent off an objective. Moria Goblin Shamans are going to be super important, though. The Moria Goblin's courage is still low. You're going to need them there to keep them in place. Prowlers, one of the few models I didn't like in the game. Fight value 3, strength 3, defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 8, intelligence 7, 7 points, 200 weapon and throwing weapons, cave dweller, backstabbers, and stalk unseen. It's the models I don't like. I said it in a previous video. I don't feel like they fit into Peter Jackson's world. So for me, I'm not blown away by them. The profile's fine. It is what it is. It depends how the army bonus works in terms of getting extra wounding dice and extra fight value and all kinds of stuff. The Moria Goblin drums next, and it's 75 points. All Moria Goblins on the battlefield get +1 to their courage checks. Enemies get -1 to courage checks. Goblins within 18 inches count as being in range of a banner, and crucially, it counts as a banner for the purpose of victory points. I think I'd be taking the drum at most points levels. Certainly anything 700 and up, which is not most points levels, but I'd definitely be taking it at that point and maybe lower. Dragons I have seen. Fight value 8, shoot value 2+, strength 7, defense 7, 4 attacks, 7 wounds, courage 6, intelligence 5, 3 might, will, fate. And they've got heroic channel, heroic defense, heroic resolve. So no heroic strike or heroic strength. They can select up to 2 of the following options. So they're 200 points base. And then for 50 points, they can take breathe fire, fly, superior intellect, tough hide, or worm magic. Breathe fire is now a shooting attack with a range of 12 inches. If it hits, the model and all models within 2 inches of it suffer a strength 10 hit. Any model that suffers a wound which isn't prevented is automatically slain. It's ludicrous. Fly is what you'd expect, 12-inch move, and can go over the top of things. Superior intellect means you automatically pass any intelligence test you're required to take. And when you spend a might point, roll the dice on a 4+, you don't lose the might point. That's probably the best one on here. No, that was a complete lie. Breathe fire and fly are probably the best two. But superior intellect is very good. Tough Hide increases your wounds and defense to 9. And Worm Magic gives you a 3 point of will each turn and gives you Compel, Transfix, and Foil Magic. They've also got Dominant 5, Harbinger of Evil, Large Target, Monstrous Charge, Resistant to Magic, Terror, and the big one, Survival Instinct. So if you were just thinking about that, thinking, holy moly, these dragons are good, Survival Instinct is going to really hold them back. They're Courage 6+, and Survival Instinct means when they take a wound, or for each wound they take, they roll a Courage check. If they fail, they flee. They've got 3 will points, or potentially 4 if you give them Worm Magic. But it's a massive flaw, but that's how they get away with having the stat line they've got. Fight 8, 4 attacks, Monstrous Charge. That's 5 dice on the charge, which you're probably going to get if you've got Fly. Breathe Fire is insane just for scattering the opponent and the amount of damage it can do. Those two in combination is ludicrous. But Survival Instinct means a lucky shot here and there, a Legolas who's prevalent, a Siege Bow, an Avenger Bolt Thrower, anything like that is a massive threat to a dragon. Cave Drakes I've also seen, but I love the Cave Drakes. Oh, I should say that the base size of the dragon is now 13 centimetres round, and the Cave Drakes is 10 centimetres round. That makes them huge. I do think against the top players, that is going to be a big problem for dragons and drakes. It's very easy to make a no-fly zone, or make it so you can't charge certain models. Interesting to see how they play out. But the Cave Drake then is move 8, fight 7, strength 7, defense 7, 4 attacks, 6 wounds, 6+ courage, 7+ intelligence, 1 might, 3 will, 1 fate, and they've got heroic defense. Cave Dweller, dominant 4, large target, monstrous charge, mountain dweller, resistance magic, terror, and woodland creature. So these guys don't have survival instinct. Arguably, I think I'd rather have 2 cave drakes than 1 souped up dragon. They're just more of a safe bet. They've still got 6 wounds at defense 7. There's still 5 attacks on the charge. But I don't know, there's definitely a place for either or maybe both, as we'll see in the Dragons of the North list, which I've also seen. So you also get to place a nest marker at the start of the game within 3 inches of it. Cave Drakes are fearless, nice little bonus, especially if you can put it near an objective. Ooh, they've got a nice new special rule here. If a Cave Drake loses a duel roll and is trapped, after any strikes are made against the Cave Drake, it can lash out. Any model's friend or foe that are engaged in combat with it, or within 1 inch of it, immediately suffer a strength 4 hit. I like that. That's very cool. With 6 wounds, you're definitely going to get at least 1 good lash out. And then Gaping Maw, which was a special rule nobody really used. Okay, so it's a little bit better than it used to be. Basically, if there's a man-sized model or a 25mm base model, on a 2+, you eat them. They can prevent it with Fate. If they don't, then the Cave Drake gets a wound back. That's pretty cool. I thought maybe it would be like get a victory point or something like that, but I think this is probably better. Still unlikely to be used on like a hero or something like that, but if you need to go and recover your Cave Drake, go charge it into the Mana Menace turret at the end of the line, gobble him up, get a wound back, and get back in the fray. That has its uses now. Fallen Realms are next, and I'm very excited for Harad, which will hopefully be in here. But first it's Arnor, and I'm going to gloss over this because I've got it on good authority that nothing's really changed from the Arnor supplement, including the fact that Gulabar flies 6 inches. I'm assuming it's a typo, because every other model that can fly flies 12 inches, I think. So I'm assuming that will change with the next FAQ, and they maybe didn't FAQ the last one because it was part of the PDF. But Gulabar is just an absolute beast. Strength 8, 4 wounds. His attacks are equal to his wounds, but he's only defense 5. So he's one of these glass cannon type models, and that's what makes him so great. And if he gets a kill, he gets his wounds back. 200 points. Heroic strength and defense is only fight 7, which is worse than it used to be. But then heroic strike only goes up D3. But I would argue that's his biggest failing. Maybe even more so than not being able to fly 12 inches. Fight 8 would have been really nice for him. He is a model I will give a try. Bura, we love Bura. We love the new model for Bura. We love the new profile for Bura. In short, fight 7, strength 7, defense 7, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, 3-3-1. He can re-roll a single d6 in a dual roll, just like the Hill Trolls. So he's essentially got an inbuilt banner, but he can use a banner as well. And if he slays 3 or more models, then or control models treat Bura as a 6-inch banner. Hill Trolls, exactly the same as a Cave Troll, but they've got this cunning where they get to roll a d6, just like it's a banner. Love the Hill Trolls, love Bura, and love his Legion. Shadow of Rutabi is really, really cool. Again, he's in the PDF that was available online for free, so I'm not going to touch on it too much, but he's basically built around just taking fate off enemy heroes, being a real nuisance, giving them -1 penalty to fate rolls and to charge things. He's just a problem piece, and he's got 2 attacks. Most spirit models only have 1, so he can do a little bit with his Blades of the Dead, but you don't really want him on your front line. Nazthak, everybody's favourite Steely Orc, is the guy that can steal other people's equipment. He's another one I would just love to have a go with, but he's an Orc captain essentially, got an extra fate, and he can take equipment like the Horn of Gondor if he kills Boromir somehow, which is very cool. Shades had a nice upgrade in the new edition, or when I say nice upgrade, they've not got better, they've got different. The old Shade was a little bit oppressive. They used to give -1 dual roll within, I think, 6 inches, and that made them very difficult to play against. Now they're kind of these conduits for ring wraiths, where ring wraiths can measure spells and cast spells from the Shades. They can give -1 to hit, or even -2 to hit, and then they give Angmar Orcs +1 courage. It all kind of stacks up, and the army bonus as well. They're a spirit, so Orcs are going to cause terror within 3 inches of them, and all of a sudden, with dominant 3 as well, you've got quite a useful unit in a lot of different scenarios, but you've got to use it well. It is 75 points. Louis played against, I think his name was Callum, at the teams tournament, who used it really well, and it took Louis a bit by surprise. He ended up winning, but it kind of sold him on the Shade. Barrow-wights, yeah, I hate them, but I love them and I hate them. Paralyze is absolutely brutal. They cast it on a 3+. They've got 5 will, which gives them 4 tries, because you have to have a will in store to keep your target paralyzed. For 50 points, just chuck them in an Angmar list if you've got 50 points to spare, because they make the opponent play in a way maybe they wouldn't normally play. They're terrifying. And then you've got the Angmar Shaman, who is different from the other Shamans. This is what made me think maybe they wouldn't all have Fury, because this one doesn't. They've got Instill Fear, Drain Courage, and Wither, which is really cool. Louis took 3 Barrow-wights, maybe 4. 3 Barrow-wights, I think, to the GT. He was contemplating taking 3 Angmar Orc Shamans and just withering heroes until they were Strength 0, because when you're Strength 0, you're removed from the game. I think Paralyze is definitely the better option, but interesting philosophy. Wild Wag Chieftains are excellent. So they're 3 attacks, fight 5, strength 6, defense 5, 3 wounds, 2-1, Might Will Fate, and they've got Heroic March and Strength and Terror. The big minus on them, they're only 80 points, and you're getting quite a lot for that, is that only Wags can benefit from their heroic actions and stand fast. I do think that holds them back a little bit, but I was listening to Entmoot recently, and somebody won a little tournament using Angmar with Wild Wag Chieftains to kind of go and grab objectives where they don't need to be near anybody anyway. Wild Wags are the same as you'd expect, and then the werewolves. We love a werewolf. The models are insane, like perfect. When I heard they were bringing werewolves out for Middle-earth, I was a bit like, ooh, what is this going to look like? The way they've done them as not being able to transform in these kind of massive, hulking, feral wag-like creatures. Big fan of that. I don't know if that maybe splits the fan base or not, but I like them. Fight value 5, strength 5, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 5, intelligence 8+, fell sight, which is such an underrated rule. Absolutely love fell sight. Terror, and then feral charge, where they can essentially get the cavalry knockdown bonus. 25 points, so you are paying a lot for them, but really good, solid models. They're kind of better than the old half trolls, I would say. Well, they definitely are. And they're maybe only 2 points more. Just a few more Angmar profiles to go through, and it's my favourite mini faction, which is Khan Doom. And I really hope they do more things like this, maybe with Far Harad now that's not in the game. That'd be a really good opportunity to just expand, give us some cool named heroes, some cool, new, interesting ways to play. But Aldrek, 3 attacks, fight 6, strength 5. He's got Mighty Blow, and he just hits like an absolute ton of bricks. And if he kills a model, he can get a free heroic combat the next turn. Frecht, I think that's how you say that. He got a little buff since the last edition. Again, it's in the PDF, but basically he can do incantations. He's got 4 will, and he can do 1 incantation per turn at the cost of a will. He can make you re-roll 1s within 6 inches of him. He can give you a 5+ save within 6 inches, which has got to be the best one. And he can make you ignore difficult terrain within 6 inches. But really cool pair of models to lead a Khan Doom army there. Captains of Khan Doom are great, and warriors of Khan Doom are great. They're fight 3, strength 4, defense 5, and they get +1, and so do the captains, get +1 to wound when striking enemy heroes. Love, love, love Khan Doom. And really want to try the actual army as well, with the army bonus and everything like that. Up next is the Dragon Emperor, and you're going to have to forgive me. I didn't use the Dragon Emperor a lot in the previous edition, or at all myself, but I did play against it. I'm never a fan of using the models that are super in vogue or really, really good or competitive. I like to try and find a different way to win. I'm hoping he's had a little debuff so I can feel comfortable using him. So let me just have a quick read. He's gone up to fight value 7, strength 4, defense 7, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, might, will and fate 3/3/3. I'm a little sad that you can't get him dismounted. I was saying this to Aaron in a podcast recently. I'd love to be able to take him without the Pelican and then pay for the Pelican as an upgrade, but it's fine. He's resistant to magic. He's got an elven made weapon. If he wins a duel roll, he does a number of attacks equal to the Pelican's wounds, which is really, really useful. But he has had 2 significant debuffs. He's got a banner with a range of 6 inches. That used to be 12 inches. And he doesn't give +1 fight value to Eastlings around him anymore. Instead, they get to re-roll 1s when making strikes. That brings him down massively. It's 200 points. So he's still paying a premium. But that, to me, I'm going to take myself a Dragon Emperor. He's a very good, very cool model. But he's not insane. I like it. Depending on, obviously, what his army bonus is. But, you know. Amdor, unfortunately, I had spoilt for me. But Amdor's awesome. For anybody who's not seen Amdor, then he's fight value 7, strength 4, defense 6, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, 3/3/1, might, will and fate. He's got an elven made hand and a half weapon, and when making strikes against enemy hero models, a natural 5+ will always wound the target. That's crazy good. That's an Azog style rule. Obviously it's a natural 5+, so you can't might it up. And my favourite thing about that whole thing, I'm sure everybody's thinking the same, is that that's Dera's, which is his sword. So that special rule is attached to his sword, which means if Nazthak kills him, Nazthak wounds enemy heroes on a 5+, it's going to make it even easier for him to take equipment. I'm sure that's what you were all thinking. He's got Heroic Strike and Heroic Challenge. General Hunter, so no Blood and Glory anymore. Unyielding Combat Stance, so he won't be getting knocked over. Phalanx, Gleaming Horde. Herald of Victory, so if he slays the enemy general, which he wants to do for General Hunter, he counts as a banner for 6 inches. And then the big one, if an enemy in combat with him declares a Heroic Strike, Amdor gets to call a free counter Heroic Strike. He's an absolute beast. He's going to be, there's 135 points, so 160 on his horse, and I think he's worth every point. Very, very cool. Rutabi is another one that was point for point incredible. Interested to see if they've changed her. She's fight value 6, strength 4, defense 7, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, 3/2/2 might, will, fate. She can Heroic Strike and Heroic Challenge. Master of Battle 3+, I thought that might go to a 4+. She's got unyielding combat stance, phalanx, which means she can be supported by pikes and not have to worry about being trapped. And she can re-roll failed to wound rolls when making strikes against a trapped enemy. She's 120 points, so she's exactly the same as she was, but she's 120 points instead of 110. Great model. Yeah. I think I would have gone Master of Battle 4+. But it's only because I've died many times at the hands of Rutabi. She's an excellent, excellent character. Borgir doesn't seem to have changed at all, but he was a good, solid character. Fight 4, Strength 3, Defense 5, 1 attack, 2 wounds, 2/5/2. And if he casts on a 6, he gets a will point back. And he's got Blade Wrath, Fury, Enchanted Blades, and Tremor. Really cool model. Really like Borgir. I'd like to try him out. I've never actually used him. I did play against him once in doubles with Louis when we ended up winning it in the first game. But yeah, he didn't really cause us too much trouble. I'd like to have another go with or against Borgir. Dragon Knights, I love. They're glass cannons. I've not seen them at all this edition. I'm hoping they've got the same kind of vibe where they're just going to go in and either, maybe if they were more specialised, if they could chop up heroes or just chop up models. But I really like Dragon Knights. Let's see what we got. 70 points, fight 6, strength 4, defense 6, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, 2 might, no fate. They've got General Hunter, so they have lost blood and glory, which was their big saving grace. They can heroic challenge, but they can't heroic strike. They can shield, and they can only lead Black Dragon warriors. I think they've got a bit worse, to be honest. It's still a cool model, still love a glass cannon. You've got to use that model right, though, or you're going to have big problems. Yes, Leon, I was talking to you because you're taking an all-mounted Eastling army to Throne of Skulls. Black Dragon Warriors we saw on Warhammer Community, I'm pretty sure it was. So they're Fight 4, Strength 3, Defense 6, and they're 10 points. They've got Phalanx, and they get a bonus of +1 to their fight value within 3 inches of a Black Dragon hero. So a Black Dragon hero is the Eastling Dragon Knight, Amdor, and the Dragon Emperor of Rune. So they're going to go up to fight 5 within 3 inches of those. Okay, I quite like that. Rather than give the Emperor the whole thing, they've got everybody's got a little mini one. Dragon Cult Acolytes are fight 4, strength 3. I thought they might go up to strength 4. Defense 4, 2 attacks, 1 wound. I mean, they're so beefy. They definitely should be fight value, strength 4. And they're the same as they used to be, but they've also got this Warrior of the Dragon Cult rule where they get +1 to their fight value within 3 inches of a Black Dragon hero. Little strange that you could still put them at the front of a Phalanx. I know they don't have the Phalanx rule, but if you spread your lines, you could still fight through them with a load of people. I would maybe like to have seen that limited a little bit, but getting some fight 5 guys on the front with 2 attacks and 2 pikes behind could be pretty scary. The War Priest, which Leon is taking as part of his all-mounted Cataphract army, is fight 4, strength 3, defense 5, 2 wounds, 1/3/1, might, will, and fate. They've got Blade Wrath, Fury, and Enchanted Blades for 60 points. And then we've got the Wardrake of Rune. These models are so cool. I love them. I love they've kind of gone for this realistic Komodo dragon kind of approach instead of something kind of high fantasy. I think it's perfect. And for me, these fit in Peter Jackson's Middle-earth. Where the Prowlers maybe didn't, I could see these. I was going to say in an episode of Rings of Power, but that undermines it. But I could see them in some Peter Jackson spin-off. Fight 4, strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6, intelligence 9+. So if you need an intelligence test taken, target these guys. Dominant 2, terror and venom, and then they've got slow acting venom. If you suffer a wound from them, your fight and attacks value is reduced by 1. Great for taking out a monster. Just love the models. Just love the profile, love the models. They're great. Okay, we're on to the Eastling Cataphracts, and it's no secret that Leon is taking an all-mounted Eastling army to Throne of Schools. It's been long in the works before this edition even came out. And doesn't really look like they've changed much. We were hoping for a bit of a buff just so we'd have a bit of a chance. They're exactly as you'd expect. The captains fight 5, strength 4, defense 7, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 2-1-1, 90 points, and they come with their horse. The Cataphract themselves, 15 points, fight 4, strength 3, defense 6, 1 attack, 1 wound, and they've got Gleaming Horde, which gives both the rider and the mount +1 defense, which is great. Leon probably needs a little more than that. Wish him luck. I don't know if you can tell, but it's the middle of the night here, but we've got to carry on because it's Harad now, and I love me some Harad. Suladan. So, I mean, he was one of the problem profiles when you had the old Alliance Matrix, because you'd pair him with the Witch King, and it was just a crazy combo. You can probably still do that in Legions of Mordor, but you can't kit the Witch King out in a very specific way now, and I assume Suladan is going to change a little bit. Let's find out. So we got fight 5, strength 4, defense 5, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, 3-3-1, might, will, and fate. His banner is 6 inches, doesn't confer the -1, and he's got a 12-inch standfast. Challenge, march, resolve, strike, 120 points. He's basically the same as he was before, but it's a profile I like. He is a glass cannon when you chuck him in. You can leave him at the back and make the most of his banner, but then you're not making the most of his 3 attacks. And I think, like I say, with the Witch King not being able to be built in certain ways is probably not such a problem. Raza is a model I love. Fight value 4. I thought maybe he'd go up. I thought maybe Suladan would go up, but 5 and 4 they are. Strength 4, defense 5, 3 attacks, so another hard hitter, 2 wounds, and 2-2-2 might, will, fate now. He's got a spear, he's got heroic challenge, he's got heroic strike. He's got the Bane of Kings, which is going to let him reroll all failed wounds, and is swarm protected to Suladan, and he can still do the thing where he nominates a hero model in secret at the start of the game, and he gets +2 fight value against that model. Love Raza. I got a lot of time for him, and when we did the old Two Trees Gaming Arena, I was trying to work in ways to make him my pick. And I still might if I can get it working right, but who knows how the arena is going to work. Right. Hashery. Fight value 5. Also thought they'd go up to fight value 6, but we've got fight value 5, strength 4, defense 4, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6+, intelligence 4+, 1 might still, 1 will, 3 fate. Heroic defense and heroic strike. They've got throwing weapons and a blowpipe. Backstabbers, which is going to give them +1 to wound if the enemy is surrounded. Bane of Kings, which is going to let them re-roll all dice to wound. General Hunter, which will get them a point of might back if they kill the enemy general. Stalk Unseen, and they can't be trapped while standing. I just love all the Harad. This is my vibe. I'm not dwarves, I'm Harad, I'm ability, light defense, hit hard, roll some dice, see what happens. This is my jam. Serpent Guard, fight value 4, strength 3, defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, 7s on courage and intelligence, and they've got poison spears. The riders are exactly the same but mounted, and it's a war spear, so they will get the lance bonuses. Taskmasters are exactly as you'd expect for a Taskmaster. 4+, your heroic actions free. Haradrim Raiders are mounted Harad Warriors. Still only 11 points, and then they can take a point upgrade to get a War Spear, or a War Spear and a bow to make them 13 points. Quite good, like light skirmishing cavalry. They hit really hard. An all-mounted Harad force could be very cool. Maybe if Leon does all-mounted Easterlings, I could do all-mounted Harad. And then the last faction to check out is Umbar, and it's just 3 more profiles. We've got Dalamar, 100 points, fight value 6 now. Strength 4, defense 4, hits on a 3+, which is important for him. 3 attacks, 2 wounds, 2-2-3 for his might, will, and fate. He's got smoke bombs, which are throwing weapons with a strength of 1. Any model hit but not slain must expend a point of will, or they count as transfixed and have their fight value halved. That's not super good against heroes who've got the will to spend, but if you're coming up against a troll, lob a smoke bomb at him and it's your quid's in. If he ever rolls a 1 to hit, then he's run out of smoke bombs. He's got heroic defense and heroic strike, backstabbers, bane of kings, stalk unseen, and he can't be trapped. He's a very reliable killer, but he's only got 2 wounds, 3 fate, but defense 4. Very easy to bring down as well. You've got to protect him. Delgamar, another model I love. That double pack of Raza and Delgamar, I was all over that. Fight value 5, strength 4, defense 5, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, 3/1/1, might will fate. He's got throwing weapons and a whip. He can heroic strength, but no heroic strike. And he's got a similar ability to before, where a Corsair model within 3 inches of him can re-roll a dual roll dice, but if that dual roll then doesn't make it so they win, they suffer a strength 2 hit. I can't remember if he was able to do that an unlimited amount of times in the previous edition. I can't remember, only used him a couple of times. But great rule, 75 points, 3 attacks, fight value 5, 3 might. He's pretty good. He's actually got more might than Dalamar, which is interesting. He's kind of your might battery for Corsairs. And then you get the Corsair crossbowmen, not Arbalesters anymore. Fight 4, strength 3, defense 3, 1 attack, 1 wound. They've got a crossbow and a purvase. It's a shield that provides the bearer +3 defense rather than +1. However, a model with a purvase cannot gain this bonus to their defense while engaged in combat. I think they would still get their regular defense bonus, but they don't get the extra 2. Or would that not have been worded, you get an extra 2 defense? Not sure. Loving this, especially the Fallen Realms type ones. So, I mean, I'm yet to look at the army list, but in terms of profiles, Amdor, incredible. All the Angmar stuff is excellent, especially the Khan Doom. I know it's not new to us, but really, really, really happy with that. Raza, Suladan, similar to how they were before, but absolutely love them. And bring on the army lists. And again, thank you as usual to the Patreons. I hope you can appreciate I'm staying up very late to do these videos. I'm absolutely loving it. It's great fun to film and share it with you. And thank you for supporting the channel. And please go check out the Baron of Dice. They're doing as a some dice for our Patreons, which are absolutely glorious. I'll reveal those really soon. They're such a great company, really nice to chat with and come up with design ideas. And they've got loads of really cool Middle-earth stuff. So go check out the Baron of Dice and maybe check out our Patreon too. We'll see you soon.